Hi, welcome to Bonita's Kitchen and thank you for joining us. What I'm going to be making today is a tasty pork tenderloin roast with pastry. I always say it's never a bad time to have a nice roast baking in the oven and then having it covered in a delicious flaky pastry, and then after served with a bed of vegetables and some gravy. Now how good is that? If that interests you and you can't wait to make yours, stick around and let's get started. Now what I got here is a pork tenderloin roast, but unfortunately for me, the butcher must have decided to cut it in half, which I would have liked if it was like that, but that's okay. So that way we're going to make two here today. It's a nice chunk of pork. We're going to cut off this silver skin here because that'll be a little tough. I'm going to show you how to butterfly this so that we could stuff it. We're going to stuff this here today with a tasty bed of spinach and some more ingredients. I'm going to clean up here. I'm going to show you how to do that and tell you more about it. So what I mean by butterflying. So this is a nice chunk of meat, but I want to stuff it. So I'm not going to do much with that. And like I said, I would have liked if two of them was together. So a nice sharp knife. You're going to go about a half inch. Unless it's bigger, probably you might be able to do an inch cut. You're going to slide your knife along here. Not going all the way through because we're just going to butterfly this pork. Like I was saying, don't go all the way through because we're going to be stuffing this with a delicious recipe I got here with spinach, onion, some seasonings. Now you're going to take your knife and go the opposite way. Being careful, of course, you're not going to cut your fingers, but in my case I got it out of the way. And you're just pulling this back as you go because we want to open it up enough so as we can stuff it. Just keep going like that. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to butterfly this one anymore. So pretty much that's it. And it was like this before. What we're going to do now, we're going to take this little bit of silver skin off just because we're going to be rolling this in pastry. And I don't want that there because that'll be a little tough. So just slide your knife in under that and take it back. That's all you need to do there. So that's all you need to do there. I'm going to cut it off at that. So that's the silver skin. And that's that one. I'll do the same with this. I thought I was only going to be stuffing one, but that's okay. We'll do both. And if I feel like it, I guess, I will might even do two of them together to make a bigger roast. I'll show you that if I do decide, I guess. And that's all. Now let's get to making our pastry. I'm going to wash up here. So we're making our pastry. This is 2 cups of all-purpose flour and a little smidgen more I'm going to keep for rolling it after we put it together. Half a teaspoonful of sea salt. Just look how damp it is here today. We have got a beautiful day, but some days it's just a little more humidity. Half a cup of butter, and then with your hand or a mixer, a food processor, just pinch it together to blend the butter in with the flour. Now after I finished butterflying the pork, I cleaned up my countertop, washed my hands to get all that juice off, and then I put the pork tenderloin in the fridge just to keep it cold until we're ready to do more work with it. So after you've done this with your pastry, we're going to take half a cup of cold water and gradually blend it in there, and just to make a ball, or just to form it together. We can make a ball on the counter. So after you've almost blended it together, take it out onto your countertop or a sleeve and bring it together, because what I'm going to do here now, I'm going to roll this in one pastry, even though it's enough here for 2. And I'll decide whether I'm going to make 2 separate roasts out of that one or the one. It all depends now when I get to that stage. So now all I'm going to do is get my rolling pin and we're going to roll this out. So I'm just going to take a dusting of that flour, dust my board. I'm probably going to end up putting it out on this nice cutting board here because sometimes I don't always make the right decision when I start rolling out my pastry. So you're just rolling it the same size as what you would if you were making a pie, and keeping it, you can put it in the fridge before to harden up that butter, or you could keep it out at room temperature until you're ready to use it. That's entirely up to you. So I'm going to show you this. So as you can see, I end up putting it out onto my cutting block after, because that was the proper choice. Give me more room to make this a nice big slab of pastry for rolling that pork tenderloin roasts in. So after you've done that, I'll show you what's next. After you've rolled out the pastry, just roll it up on your rolling pin, and then we're going to put it to the side and get now working on the spinach and the filling, and I'll show you that. So I'm using fresh spinach for this today, but you could use frozen if you can't find fresh. I got about a half a pound of spinach here in this bowl. I got some water in there with it that I added, just resting for a little bit because I just want to wash it, because now I'm going to drain that water off. I'm going to massage the spinach. I'll toss in there about I'd say a quarter or half teaspoonful of sea salt to help with that massaging, and I'll show you that. So pretty much the water is drained off here now, and what I'm going to do is just massage it, just making it wilted, and toss in there, I said about a third to a half a teaspoonful. You decide what's good for you, and that helps bring out the liquid from the spinach. Now salt may burn your hands a little bit, so you could use gloves if you want to for this step. And it's just mainly wilting the spinach, and then we're going to drain all of the juice that comes from it out. And the reasons for that, we don't want all of that moisture to come out of the roast and go on to your pastry, because spinach got a lot of liquid in it. Of course, it's absolutely delicious and good for you, but you still got quite a bit there, and you've got that amazing spinach taste. So pretty much after you've massaged it, what you need to do is take the juice out. I got to get another bowl and just pinch it, and you'd see that it's removing that juice from the spinach, and then I'll put it into another bowl. So continue doing that with all of that spinach. You can see the juice down there in the bottom. Take what you can handle in your hand and just pour it out into another bowl. Now you can keep that juice. You can use it in another recipe. You can make yourself a nice vegetable drink. It'll be nice. I know it's got a little taste of salt in there, but you can always not add the salt if you didn't want to. But that's all you need to do there, or put it into a soup. Alright, so I'll tell you what's next. So what we're going to add in there is about a small to a medium diced onion. I'm going to keep a little bit because I want to make a gravy here today as well. When I say a little bit, just about a quarter of a cup. So excuse me if you don't know what I'm saying. Just keep some back. Raymond will say
I'd say smidgen.
A smidgen, yes. I got a cup of feta cheese here. This is just a crumble cheese. You can have the ones that's in the liquid. You can have the shredded, whatever type you. And if you don't like shredded cheese, you use the cheese you like. Maybe Parmesan, you name it. I got a teaspoonful of onion powder. I'm just going to use half of it in this mixture. Same thing with the sea salt. I'm going to put about maybe a quarter to a half. I got some ground thyme. I'm going to do the same thing because I want to put this over that tenderloin. And the next stage, and I'll show you that, this is some black pepper and half of that. Now I'm going to toss that in. So when I say half a teaspoonful, I'm just going to toss all of that together. So just make sure it's all evenly tossed in there, and then, and you'll know, you'll be washing your hands between starting, ending, because your hands is totally in all of the cooking of this one, or the preparing. I got 2 tablespoonfuls of mother's mustard sauce. You could use a mustard of your choice if you don't have any made, and I will also share you the ingredients to that, so you would have it. And I'm going to be using 1 large egg. I'm just going to break it and mix it and then put it into it. And so after you've cracked your egg, put it into a bowl, mix it around, and toss that in with the spinach mixture as well. And now we're going to mix it all together. I'm in there with my hand again, so again you could use 2 forks, 2 spatulas, or you could use your 2 hands. Now that's all we need to do there. Now let me just grab for that pork tenderloin. So I hope you're following along and you're excited to make your pork tenderloin roast with pastry. So what we're going to do now is unbutterfly these pork tenderloins and stuff them with that delicious spinach filling, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So now we got the 2 pieces. Now again, if you go get this and the butcher haven't already cut it in half, tell them to keep it full, and that way you would have all this together. And I don't think it'll be possible for me to join it, and who knows, I might be able to and continue. I'll try it anyway. If it don't work, we'll do 2 separate ones. So you're just going to put a really nice helping of that spinach on the pork tenderloin. So now after you've done that, of course I got lots of extra of this filling, you're going to roll it, tucking it in. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to roll it over on the 2, so I'll just do 1 at a time, tucking it in and pinching it, because we can't tie any thread around it because we're going to be putting this in a pastry. So after you've done the 1, I'm going to put it here onto my cookie sheet with some parchment paper. So I'll grab the thongs here now and just put equal amount, get lots of that feta in there. I might even stuff some more into that other one, because like you said, the more you can wilt this spinach down, the easier it is to stuff it all in there. And if you've got a bigger roast, this is about, I would say, 1 pound to 1.5 pounds, this roast. And then, like you said, pinching it to make it a little more tight, like this, and then roll it. After you've done that, pinching it in and tucking it all the ways in there. So what we're going to do now, we're not just putting this on the cookie sheet and putting it in the oven. Of course, we got to fry this a little small amount, and I'll tell you that, in the frying pan. I'm going to push this to the side because before we put the pastry on it. So I want to season these up here equally with this onion powder and thyme, ground thyme. Just a small amount of the sea salt, because like you said, we got the sea salt inside. And I'm just going to massage this through. Now I'm going to take it over to my stove top and put about a tablespoonful of butter and olive oil in the pan and get that hot. So I'm going to toss in there about a tablespoonful of butter, or a teaspoonful, and the same thing with the olive oil. Just put that in there and let that melt just a little. So what we're going to do is take up that nice pork tenderloin, put into this hot pan, and about, I'd say, 10 minutes on that side. Let's cook it and then flip it to the other side. We'll do 1 at a time. keep all your stuffing inside. If you had a full roast, like I was saying, it'll be all the ways around, so you wouldn't even see that filling. But it's okay that you see it right now because it's going to be covered with the pastry. So flip it over slowly to get it on the other side, keeping the filling in there. We'll do the same on that side, and then I'll do the other one, and I'll show you what to do next.
What a beautiful sound, isn't it?
Smells amazing too,
yeah,
eh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Seasoning.
Yeah.
So if you end up getting a half of roast like I did, keep stuffing it back in because you don't want it to come out, all that stuffing. Now we're going to transport it over here to this platter, and then I'm going to put my other one down there, and that will be done. Alright, so I'll let that one do the same on both sides. And I'll get my pastry ready to go. So now back to the counter. We got one done, and it's now cooled down. It's just at room temperature. My other one is still over there on the fryer. So take it off like this, and leaving the juice there, we can put that back into the frying pan for making our gravy. We're going to fry some apple wedges as well with this. So what you're going to do now, with the side that's opened, and maybe like I was saying, you will get a roast that would be closed and you wouldn't have to worry about this exposed. Bring this side of the pastry up over. So putting the pastry over that side, bringing it over, flipping it over on either side, or you can pinch it, whichever is easy for you, like this, and then taking this side and bringing it up over like this, tucking in the sides and giving it a little pinch there to keep it all together. Then I'm just going to make a couple little slices, maybe 4 over the top, and then put it onto your pan. I'm going to put this in a preheated oven of 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to leave it in there until it's a nice golden brown, and it reads on your cooking thermometer 145 degrees to 150. That brings it to a medium well, and then when it's cooked and baked, I'm going to show you what this looks like and give you approximate time, but I can't because I don't know what size of roast. This is a pound and a half, both of them together, so it's kind of 1.25 pounds. So, and then what we'll do, we'll fry our wedges, our apple wedges, and then we're going to make a gravy to go over this delicious roast. And I'll show you what that looks like when it's baked. One more thing before you go. I got to crack 1 egg, and then we're going to glaze some egg, the whites and the yolk, over the top of those roasts. And just brush it, and to let you know that I did use all of the filling and was able to get it in both roasts before I started frying it. So it's just enough, it really is. So just glaze over both pastries like this and then pop it into the oven. Awesome. Now back here to the stove, while we're waiting for our roast to come out of the oven, I'm going to put about a teaspoonful to a tablespoonful of butter in with those drippings from frying the pork tenderloin, and I put about a tablespoonful of melted butter in with these apple wedges and tossed it around, and I'm going to put it into the frying pan just to fry them off, to brown them off there. And we're going to make gravy over here. Smells amazing in here, don't we, Raymond?
Oh, you better believe it.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're going to add in here 2 tablespoonfuls of flour. You can't use flour, you use cornstarch. And we're going to mix that through just to cook off that flour a little. And toss in the remainder of those onions and saute them a little bit before. Kind of missed that step there, but that's fine. Just let them just cook just a little there with that, because we're going to bubble this gravy now with some vegetable broth. Now just bubble that gravy and let the onions cook. So I get about 2 cups of broth here, and it's vegetable broth because I cooked up some root vegetables to have with this delicious roast today. And just let it simmer there. Cooked onions, you can fry them a little in advance if you want to. Just let them soften, and that's all you need to do there. We are feeling very happy here today because we got these 2 delicious pastry roasts, you know, tenderloin and the gravy and the vegetables. Like, we're overexcited. So now what I'm going to do is show you what they look like. I've let them rest there for a little bit. It was a little small amount of juice that came off, and then I just dumped it into my gravy. So you know that gravy is going to be just rich and tasty. So let's get to our roast. So here is our pork tenderloin roast in pastry, and the dripping with some juice coming out there. I got it here so as we can cut into it, and I'll try to keep Raymond's fingers from coming over because I'm going to be using my Titan Forge knife and certainly don't want his fingers to go. Oh boy.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one to control me.
It's going to be difficult, one. Right?
Yeah. Already.
So now I'm going to cut into this roast. Oh my gosh. I am so excited here today, and I hope you are. Get my fork out, turn this one around. Look how delicious it looks, and the juice coming out. Too good to eat. So now I'm going to cut one more piece, and then I'm going to plate it up. Just look how delicious this looks. So now I'm going to take a nice big chunk of this pork tenderloin and some apple to go on the side, and now I'm going to get the gravy to pour over the top. Yum. So I got some vegetables there, some root vegetables. Just going to toss some of that gravy and a little bit of the gravy over that roast, and the onions is just nice and tender. But you can saute them a little before if you want to. Now here it is. Too good to eat. Now I'm going to have a taste. Now I'm going to have a little taste, and then after we're going to sit down, myself and Raymond, and have this delicious meal. But here it is, some pastry and a taste of that pork tenderloin. Drop the fork, delicious. The crunchiness of the pastry, tenderness of that pork. I only got a little bit of the spinach there, so I'm excited. Let me just get a little bit of spinach.
Yeah, because like I'm still waiting for you to drop the spoon instead of the fork.
Oh
Okay.
my god. My gosh. The spinach and the feta cheese on the inside mixed with that gravy. Oh, I can't wait. 2 thumbs up, and Raymond will get a taste now in a moment.
Too good to eat.
Too good to eat. I'm excited for you folks to make this recipe. I know you're going to love it. The mixture and the combination, we're just using root vegetables as our side dish, and a bit of that fresh spinach on the bottom, which will be extra delicious. So if you want a copy of this recipe, I'm going to leave it for you at the bottom of this video. And if you can't find it there, you can visit us on our website, www.bonitaskitchen.com. You can also visit us on our Facebook page, or send me a message at bonitakitchen@gmail.com, and I'll answer any of your questions and send you a recipe if you can't find it. We so appreciate you stopping by here today. Our roast took anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes for both of those to cook, and again, you could use your thermometer anywhere from 145 to 150 if you want it well. It'll be higher, of course. If you're cooking a bigger roast, it'll be a little bit longer. But whichever way, it's going to be equally as delicious. We're not going to take any more of your time. We know it's precious, and we thank each and every one of you for stopping by. If you haven't subscribed already, we thank you in advance, and we thank all of our subscribers for joining us here on Bonita's Kitchen. So on behalf of myself, Raymond, and our team, from our kitchen to yours, have a wonderful day. If you're visiting Newfoundland and Labrador, don't forget to include the beautiful town of Portagrave in your travels, and visit us again on Bonita's Kitchen.
Join us by the sea, a journey in culinary, always an open door. Bonita's Kitchen to yours, Bonita's Kitchen.